Hello, wonderful viewers. Welcome to another session with Creative Rise Studio. Yeah, so today ends another week or begins another week with our free graphic design training. I know it's not been an easy time with you as my viewers, but it's been nice time. Yeah, so I know you have some challenges and some things you wish I could help you to address them. All right, so there'll be a quick recap of what we have learned so far. Then quickly, we're going to look at what we have for today. So after the lessons, what we do is that I will make available video tutorials, okay, concern the various topics so that you can do that at your own leisure time. But today's lesson is to help us to quickly understand what we did last week, okay, the assignment, and then we talk about some few things that would help us in our training. All right, so thank you for being with us here. If you have any question, you can chat it or send it to the WhatsApp platform. I'm monitoring it from here as well so that I can help you to understand some few things in the graphic design. All right, so if you're with me, just message me, put it in the chat box and say I am with you. All right, so want to delve into Photoshop. All right, so last week we had some session. We talked about introduction to Photoshop, about the software itself, where we looked at some few things that we needed. Okay, we looked at the tools. We also looked at, first of all, how to create a new file. Then we look at the tools. We also looked at um, some few things about the tools and all that. And then I gave you an assignment. So just a quick one on the assignment, and then we move to what we have for today. All right. Thank you. So, like I said, if you have any question or anything you want me to help you to address, please feel free, let us know. Okay. So, we want to move into our Photoshop. All right. So, thank you very much. So, last time we learned that to be able to, we have to first of all click new, and then we do the settings for the work we want to do. Okay, so here that's where we choose our paper. So when you come to the document type here, let me bring out the zoom tool, the magnifier. Let me go for the magnifier. All right, so I want to use this app to help us to able to see clearly what we are doing. All right, so this is where we set the dimensions for our work. All right, so currently we leave it as it is. Leave it as it is. So we set the units here, the units, and then the dimensions. All right. So if you want to change, let's say when you go to US paper, you have their system here. If you also want to do something for photography, photo, and then you choose the sizes available for the photography. If you also want to do something for the web or mobile app, yes, we have all these predefined sizes there for you to use. All right, so let's pick international. When you pick international, we have the different paper size here. So you have to know the size in which you are designing on before you attempt designing, else you end up designing something that is not applicable in real life. All right, you can't either print it or use it. It becomes that useless unless you recreate the whole thing again. So that is what you're going to look at now. So let's say we select the A4 paper and then we click OK. All right, so let me go out of the Zoom so you see what is happening here. Very good. Yeah, so we talked about the tools. We talked about the move tool. So the move tool behave like the hand that helps you to move items around on the Photoshop. and then the shape tools as well. So when I click for some few seconds, we're able to get the kind of shape here. All right, so the assignment was that we are to draw different kind of shapes, okay, given the outline, given the stroke, and what have you. All right, so I want to quickly take you through the assignment I gave you so that we do what we have for today. Okay, so in the assignment, we are with the knowledge you have acquired, you have to vary the sizes of the shape. So let me pick the rectangle shape here. All right, so I click, drag, and draw. All right, so I have my LH shape. I think that the piece is a bit slow. Pardon me for the breaks. Okay, so I intend to draw the rectangular shape. Okay, so I click on the rectangle tool. I click, drag to draw. All right, so this is the shape. Okay, so if this is our first shape, let me go for another one. To duplicate this one, I taught you that you can press Ctrl plus J so that it will duplicate the layer here. So you can see a copy of it there. If I click and I drag, we have a duplicate here. Okay, so let me change the color of the second one. Just come to the thumbnail. Okay, you double click on the thumbnail, then you have the properties here, then you can click and then make changes to the color that you want. All right, so that is how you can see the color has been changed. So in the assignment, you're supposed to alter the outlines and all that. So let's go to click on the outline and then select a color for the outline. Okay, so let me pick a color that is conspicuous, that is clear for us to see. Let me increase the size of the outline so that you can see it clearly. Okay, so I go for another the ellipse tool. I click and I drag shift. Okay, so my finger is on the alt and the shift. You see how it is to draw a perfect circle. Very good. So it also borrows its characteristics from the previous shape. So what I have to do is that I come to the properties here and I change it to a color that I want. All right, so I change the outline, I click here, and then I change the fill as well. All right, so let me go. I think somebody called me, had a problem drawing a star. So to draw a star, you have to choose the polygon tool. And the polygon tool, the moment you select the polygon tool, you have this showing at the tool description bar here. Okay, so if I click on this one, it says the number of sides is 8. So let's say I want to draw a 5 pointed star, so I choose 5. And then you click on the gear icon. So on the gear icon, you should make sure that the star is checked. And let me take off the smooth indents for now. All right, so let me click and drag. Very good. So I have a star. When I press the shift key, it locks it. Okay, so this is the star I want. Don't forget, the star will borrow its properties from the previous shape. Okay, so let's try to maybe change the the, the characteristics of this star, the shape and the outline. All right, okay, so what I do is that, how do we bring back the properties of the shape, I mean the outline, because I've drawn my star, I can't see it. So the only thing you can do is to click on the shape tool. For this one, when I click on the properties, I don't see those things here because it is not in the usual shapes we have. Okay, so you find it at the top here. All right, you find it at the top here. You find the stroke and then what, the outline as well. So you can change the properties of any shape you have drawn by clicking on the shape tool, and then you can now make some changes. So let me click on the stroke and then reduce or change the color of the stroke of the star. All right, so you can see it now that the changes are being effected. Okay, so that is how you draw your star. Very good. Okay, so now I also want to continue. Let's go to the same polygon 2, and we want to have some smooth corners here. Okay, maybe uncheck it and realize that it's the same number of star, but because of the corners I selected. Okay, so let's pick our 5, maybe increase this one or smooth indentation. All right, let's make it 80, and let's draw this one and see the difference in the two. Very good. So you can see the same 5 pointed, but one side is smoother than the other. All right, so that is how you can draw your shape. Let me make changes so that I can see the difference in them. Okay, so I choose yellow, and then the fill I choose any color for now. Right, very good. So I have these two shapes here. Then you come to the custom shape. All right, so the custom shape, the moment you click on the custom shape, you come to the top, and then you have a variety of them. Yeah, so some were wondering how to get all the other shapes, because when they clicked, they didn't see so much of shapes. Okay, so when you click on the custom shape, the arrow here, it gives you a drop down. Now when you come to the gear icon, this one, you can, let me reset it so that you see what we all see when you open Photoshop. So these are the shapes available in Photoshop. All right, so when you click on a gear icon, you can decide to choose any shape from here. So when I click frames and I click append, it's going to add up to what is already here. But if you want to have all the list of the custom shapes, you come to all, and then you click OK. It will override what was previously there, and then give you the list of all the shapes that you want. Okay, so you click on this one, I click and drag. Don't forget, it will take the properties of the old one. Now this shape doesn't look it's kind of movable. All right, so when I press the shift key, it locks it. When I add the alt key, it grows from the center, shift grows from the corner. All right, so it has the same properties as this one. So what you do is that just come here and then make changes as you will. Okay, that is it. So that's what all the assignment was about. Okay, now you realize that I was drawing with a shape tool, but I quickly went to the move tool because I pressed letter V on the keyboard. Look at it. V is for the move tool. So if you want to quickly access the move tool, instead of going to click, press V, and you see it changes to the move tool. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so I said you can leave your questions in the comment below, and then I'll look at them and then address them. Thank you very much. We want to continue with our lessons. All right, so today we'll be looking into, we talk about the text tool, and then we talk about some few things about the text tool. All right, so let me clean. I asked you to put it. I think that's okay for now. Yeah, so let me talk quickly about the text tool, and then later share with you. Now, how do I delete all this? Remember, these are in layers. Every shape has its own layer that is working on. All right, so you can select all these layers and press delete on the keyboard, or click delete here. Let me zoom out, click delete here. Okay, and it will delete all the selected layers for you. So that is how you use the delete key to delete items on the, or to delete our layers. All right, so it's asking a question: do you want to delete the selected layers? You say yes, and then everything is gone. So let's go back to the drawing board. All right, so I want to talk about the text tool briefly, as it's a lot. Okay, so if you watch the video, you realize that the text tool, when you click, comes with the T. The moment you click on the text tool, you see that there are changes here. Okay, so you have the properties of the text tool showing here. All right, so you can change the font, the font here. So these are the fonts. Someone will say, like the children I teach, I taught some time ago, they tell me that this is what handwriting. So that is basically how, if you want to understand the font, you say that just like the handwriting. So that is the font, and every font has the collection of its similar. Let's say we call it font family. Okay, so when I click on this particular font, they have installed them. All right, I'll show you a video how to install a font. So when I click on the arrow here, it gives me the properties or the families, the categories of the same particular font that I selected. Now, so when I click, you have a lot of them, right? And then you make your choice which one you think. Sorry for what is happening. Let me reduce it. Okay. So when I click here, you have a large collection of fonts available for you to use in your work. Okay, so beginners, I know it's always a tough time thinking, what do I do? How do I pick the font and all that? Yeah, so you in the course of this training, I'll introduce you to it so that you can do things on your own. Okay, there are some of the fonts I installed them myself. Others also came with the Photoshop, so you can see different kinds of fonts here. Okay, so you can either click on the font or you can click inside and type the name of the font. So I have Impact Regular. So I type it, it counts for me. Now when you come here, see this side didn't show anything. This side didn't show anything because this particular font doesn't have the families here. All right, if I select, let's say Helvetica, and I click here. All right, so these are the families available for this particular font, so please take note. This side here is the font size. All right, how it is here. The 72 here is not a limit. You can have as large as you want. Okay, or here. Now you come here. When I click on the text or the character, I get more of the properties of the font here, which we cover in the course of our training. All right, so let me go out, then appreciate. So when you click on uh, the text tool, you have this indicator telling you what to do. Now you can either click and then type. Okay, so I click, mind you, mine is 8 points. So like I click, let's say graphic design training. Good. It is smaller on my screen, small on my screen because of the font size here. Okay, so here is 8 points. That is how you're also seeing it. Anytime you do any new thing in Photoshop, it will ask you to accept it. Okay, so let's say I press T on my keyboard to activate the text for me. Okay, I want to show something here. So let's say graphic design training. Let me type it again. So you have graphic um, design training. Okay, so the moment I add any new information, Photoshop will want me to either accept it or reject it. So when I click accept, it accepts the new changes, and I click reject, it rejects it. Now let me go for my move tool. Now you can do this. You see, after type, realize that the font size is so small. All right, you can do this. You can either maybe use the transform, show transform. You come to the corner, you press Shift Alt, hold and drag. Okay, you drag it proportionally. Okay, so I drag it proportionally. All right, so you have this option there. Let me accept the changes. You have this option there, sorry. Or you can also choose to do this one. You can also choose to, let's say I click on the test tool, I try it in Creative Brush Studio. Okay, you can also choose to, let me accept the changes. Double click on the thumbnail here. So I double click on the thumbnail. Then I come to the font size. Okay. I press on the left button and then I drag it. Or if you want to be more specific, you can either clean it. and then type the font size you want. Let's say 50. I press and I get what 50. Okay, so this is what I typed. All right, so you can use the transform to hold and drag it proportionally, but don't forget to use the shift and the alt key. Or you can as well just do what you call change the font size, okay, by clicking it. If the text tool is selected, if the text tool is active, and you bring it closer to any text, it gives you an indication that it wants to. The beam tells you you can start typing, okay. So I can press on the left button, click and drag. All right, very good. Now, when you are in Photoshop, remind you everything you are seeing here, see it as an object. Okay, whether you are drawing a shape, you are drawing it, you are writing a text, or bringing a picture, everything is an object. Let me turn off my show controls. Everything is an object that can take any property as well. Okay, but just that you can do things differently. Font, if you want to, this is Ghana. Okay, sorry. Okay, you can change the font and then type, or you can as well double click on a thumbnail, then select, let me use the properties using the character here, and then you decide to now change the kind of font that you want. Okay, so I have different fonts here. All right, you can click and then you make it bigger anyhow you want it. Okay, so font also, or text too, can also have a shape, can also have an outline as well as what a fill. Okay, so how do we do that? Let me bring this font here, impact. I like it because of its boldness. So let me bring the type the impact. Okay, and then type in here creative. All right, very good. So I'm going to use the control plus T to activate the controls temporarily. Okay, so I press shift alt so that I can expand it. All right, I want you to see how you can also apply stroke and things to the text too. Okay, so I come here, you click on the layer styles. Okay, today I'll talk about layers, so you think about the layer style for this one. Okay, so I click here, and then I can now choose the stroke, that is the outline. Okay, so when I click on the stroke, this is what we see. It gives us these properties here. Okay, so this stroke comes with the color, all right, and the size. So when I click here, I can have the color that I want. Now when you look at the position, you have outside, you have inside, and you have center. So let's see how outside behaves. This is how the outside behaves. Okay, and then inside, it gets inside. All right, then we have what center, that's what it also do, but I often like the outside. Depends on what you are doing. Okay, now you have the color here. You can also decide to change the color of the stroke. So I'm applying a gradient on the stroke. Okay, now somebody will ask the question, how do you also change the color uh, of, yes, so if you want to change the color of the text, just click outside, double click on the thumbnail here, and then you can change the color of the text. So let me pick any color, I set it, then I see it here. Okay, you can as well as double click on it, on a thumbnail, click here. This one, the advantage of using this side is that you're able to see the changes as you are effecting them. Okay, so that is how you can change the color of the text, just as you change the color of the objects as well. I hope we are understanding whatever I am saying here. All right, so today we're going to talk about the layers. If you are coming from CorelDRAW, you understand, you'll be thinking how that everything you do in Photoshop, you need to be coming here, clicking on a layer and all that. Mine seems to work. If I click here, this changes. I click here, this is moves. Since that I have activated what we call the auto select. So when this one is off, let's see what happens. When this one is off, okay, if I want to move this one, I have to make sure I have clicked on it. Okay, so the active layer is what moves. Okay, so if I want to move this one, I have to come and click on that particular layer, then I have the control. So when I select auto select, if I click on any layer here, it moves simultaneously. Now the advantage is to the advantage of, or let's say this one is easier to control, but sometimes if you are working a very complex project, you may click somewhere and then what you don't want is what is being selected. So if you want to be very precise with your selection, make sure auto select is off so that you can click on that particular layer and then you move and do your selection. Now when you come to Photoshop, you have what layers here. Everything, every object here, layer is being created here for you to manipulate and control. All right, so you have the layers panel. Now this layers panel can be turned off. When I click on the arrow here, let me show you. If I click on this particular pull down menu here, okay, sorry, if I click here, you have, you can close this particular layer from there. All right, now sometimes you may be working on something, okay, you can come to Windows here. These are the layers. If I click this right now, let's see, you see that layer is gone. All right, so that is how the layers behave. You can turn them on or off from the window menu. So when I click on this window menu here, it gives me a list of layers. All these are layers that are off. Now if I click on the character, see the character is showing. If I click, let me turn it, it's just here. If I click on layers here, it shows here for me. All right, so that is it. You should know how to. So sometimes something goes wrong somewhere, just come to the windows and then either you bring it back or you activate it again. All right, I hope you are sending your questions to the comment section so that I can address them as we go on in this lessons. Okay, thank you. All right, so that is how the layers behave. You can activate them here or there. All right, so if you don't need everything, please don't do it. Don't try to turn everything on. Yes, in the course of a week, I think I saw one of my students having a little challenge with a workspace. This is called a workspace. So every designer or any creative artist who is using Photoshop can decide to set his own workspace. Now, when you come here, this is the default. This is what Photoshop gives you. Okay, so if somebody is into motion animations, the person can choose and realize that the whole interface changes to suit what the person is doing. Okay, you can also select if you're into photography, you click the window. Okay, sorry, there was a little bit here. So you click on the workspace and then choose the one you want. Okay, so sometimes something may happen and realize that no, I don't need it. Just come to reset and the whole thing is reset back to the original uh, workspace you found it. All right, so I want to talk about the layers we have here. So everything we have there, every object, full stop, whatever you click or you create on the canvas here is creates a layer for you. So this layer, when you click it, you can drag it. Okay, just give some time. I think the mouse loading. Yes, you can drag it. So if I see it, a line drawn between two layers, you can drop it there. All right, you can decide to also let me do this one. Let me click here so that you can see it closer because of the zoom, the magnifier I'm doing now. All right, so this is Ghana. So when I click on this eye, You see it goes off. So you can decide to turn something on and off. If you don't need or want to see it now, you can turn it off and on. This is the thumbnail for every layer. I double click on it, it selects that particular layer for an action. All right, so that is one thing. And also, um, we come to the downside here. These are extra things you can do. First of all, you can decide to, by clicking on this one, it deletes the layer. This one creates a new layer for you. So if I want to apply a special effect on the work that I'm doing, it's just a matter of clicking on this new layer. Okay, or if I want to duplicate, okay, this is Ghana, just press on the left button, drag it to this new, and then we have a new one created for you. So you can see created. I just drag it to the new. You can also put layers into a folder. All right, so let me press down the control key and click. So these two are selected. The moment I drag them to this, okay, it has created a new group. So a new group, you can put objects into a group and then apply effects to them as a group. You can also right click and then what, you ungroup them. Okay, it separates them and takes away the folder, so now behave as individuals. All right, now let's go further. Now when you come here, you see it is not, it is showing that I cannot do anything simply because I have not selected a layer. So when I select any layer, realize that the functions here are acting for me. Okay, so when you come the FX is the layer styles. Layer styles are special effects we apply on a particular layer, not on the whole work, but on a particular layer. So currently is the text layer that is selected. So when I click on this text layer, I can add a shadow, I can outgrow whatever you want to do. Okay, so when I click on drop shadow, let's see what happens. So drop shadow comes up with its own window. Let me position it here. Okay, so with the drop shadow, let's see, the drop shadow has these properties. Let me zoom out. It has this property, multiply whatever the color of the shadow. Now if I come here and I drag the distance, you can see that something is happening significantly to this one. If I come to the spread, it is spreading. If I come to the size also would increase. So this is how artists you can create a shadow by default. Okay, so that is what the shadow. You come to glow. So what I'll tell you is that just experiment with what we are learning today. The patterns, overlay, yes, color, and what have you. Maybe you don't like the color of your text and want to do a color overlay. Overlay is be on top of it. All right, so that is it. We will do a project and then you see how we're going to apply these few styles to our work. Okay, now we have the mask. So layer mask. Mask is like a, we know in real life when you are wearing a mask on your face, so people don't see what is inside. So in Photoshop, you can decide to put a mask against a layer. Whatever changes you do doesn't affect the original work. Okay, we will use that in practical in our project work. And then we have this one. Okay, I can decide to add what we call a solid color. Okay, so when I selected sorry, I undo, control plus Z, undo. Very good. Let me click on it again. So when I click solid color, remember I have selected a particular layer. So this one here applies the characteristics to everything on the particular work you're doing. All right, so the gradient is affecting the whole board. So if I come and I make changes, it affects everything like that. So that is how it works. Just as I said in the at the beginning, it is they are in layers, one on top of the other. So you realize that this particular layer is sitting on top of all the rest. So all the others are buried under it. So if I want to show what is down here, just come and click it and drag it gently to the layer, and then you have the rest showing. Now, I want you to observe something here. you realize that this one is locked. Yes, when a layer is locked, it's very difficult to control. For instance, I'm able to move this one around because it is free. So let's say I come to the creative, I click on the creative layer, and then I click locked. Now let's see what happens. I'm trying to drag it. It is not moving because the layer is locked. Okay, so when do you apply this? Sometimes you have applied this particular effect to the text and realize that the auto select is just dangling, very difficult to control things around. Just come and lock that particular layer, and then you can concentrate on the rest of the work you're doing. You can also just click on it here to unlock it for you. Okay, so whilst you click to unlock, you can also go to click to go. Yeah, those who are using the Photoshop the CS5, you can press Alt and just click on it like this. Okay, and it takes away the lock sign for you. All right, so that is it about the layer. Let me check the comment section if there's any question for me. All right, so from the layers, we want to talk about the brush tool. The brush tool. After this, we are going to do a simple project. Okay. Yes, I'll take my time and do it and send you the recording and do a recording for you so that you can follow that one at your own pace. I know by now someone's network is disturbing him and it's not able to follow whatever you are doing here. All right. Okay. So let me delete what I have on my screen. I'm just clicking on the delete key and everything is gone except the background. Very good. Now we want to talk about the brush tool. The brush tool. So the brush tool is symbolized by this icon here. Okay, why I talk about the brush tool and not in other tool before, because of the basic tools we use for basic designs. Okay, so the shape tools, the brush and all those, they are just basic. If you're able to know these ones, you can do a lot of work even without touching any other tool, right? The text tool, the shape tool, the brush tool, the select and eraser tool, the move tool. These are basic tools you need for your basic work. Okay, then the others come along the line. Okay, so let's pick our brush tool. So I have the brush tool here. When I click, I have it. So that means when I press letter B, I get the brush. When I press B and the shift key, I'm able to go through the other brushes we have here. Good. So I select the brush. Now, like I've been telling you, anytime you select a tool, we come to the properties, and these are the properties available for this particular tool. So when you click here, you have the same different characteristics of the brush. When I click on this particular one here, this is the brush size. Okay, so the brush size, let me click again. These are different brushes here, the default Photoshop brushes for you. And this is what the size. So as I click and drag, realize that the size change. Okay, so we have the circle, it is changing, and then this is the hardness. All right, the hardness, talking about the effect or how the brush would feel. All right, so when you come here, the gear icon, you can decide to load brushes or reset brushes, save brushes. Okay, so these are brushes there for you. All right, and then you can load them into your Photoshop. I have this brush here, tone brush. Okay, so when I click on the tone brush, it says append. Let me click append. So append would, like I said, will add to what you already have. Okay, so that is it. It has been added. So let me pick this ones here. Brush tool is very powerful. It can be used to create various effects you need. Now you see it is one. If you want to change the size of the brush, like I said, you can just click here and then you increase the size of the brush. Or you can also decide to use the square bracket on the keyboard. There's a left and a right square bracket. So if I press the left square bracket, you can see that the size, sorry, okay, If I press on the left brush, left bracket, you can see that it is going very, very small. If I press on the right square bracket as I'm pressing now, you can see that the brush is what? Also growing bigger. All right, so when you pick the brush, you see the brush is picking on the four color here. So with the brush, you can click and then it gives you the effect. All right, let me select another brush here. This is a hard brush, so that's how hard brushes must behaves. This brush gives you a spray kind of what effect. Okay, a spray kind of what effect. You learn. We do a project. Don't worry, and I'll show you how you use some of these things. So let's say this is a tone brush. All these things you can download them online. I also made them available on the resource file. So I'll share the resource file with you on the WhatsApp group so that you can have access to this resource file. So that is what a tone brush effect. Want to change the color of the brush? You can simply come here and click the color and change it, or click here and then what you change the color of, or select the color of your choice. Okay, and then you apply it. Okay, you can see that as I'm using this particular brush, they are working on a background. I think these are some of the challenges beginners face a lot, especially when you're using this kind of tools. You realize that everything is on the background. Okay, so fine. If you want to delete an item, let me press on the V. You see I can't move. Let me go for my move to. Good. I can't move any of them. It says could not use the move tool because the layer is locked. So this one is locked, and because of that I can't do it. And realize I can't delete the blue or the green or this one because they are all on the same what layer. That's the background layer. So imagine you have gone ahead with your work and realize that all that you've been doing is on the background layer. You can't delete it. You can't do anything. The best thing you can do is to delete the layer and start afresh, which you don't want to go through that frustration. But the best way to use the brushes is to let it be on its own layer, on its own layer. All right. Now I want to go and use the undo like we have in our what do you call it? Microsoft Word undo. So how do you press undo? Control, let one finger press down the control key and be pressing the Z to realize that with this one, I'm able to do, I'm pressing undo, but nothing is happening. But let's see, I've added the Alt key. So Control plus Alt plus Z gives you multiple what undo. Control plus Shift plus Z gives you what redo. Now, how did I know this shortcut? Just come to edit here and then you see it here. Okay, so you have the, let me bring my magnifier to. When I click on the edit, see backward, Alt Control Z, that is undo. Okay, it gives you multiple of them. Forward, redo, Shift, Control, and then you pressing the Z at a time. Okay, so let your fingers lock down the Shift and Alt. That is how you are able to get multiple effects of whatever you are doing. Okay, so that is it. So let me press Alt Control plus Z. That is undo. I'm able to reverse and work backwards. All right, so thank you very much. Okay, so the next item we want to talk about is, so that is the brush tool. Okay, the brush tool. I'll share a video with you that talks into details how to share, how to import a new brush and all that. We can't do this because of the time allocated here. We have just a few minutes to go. So I want to quickly talk about the select tool. This is the selection tool. We have the we have magic wand, the magic wand tool, and then the quick selection tool. This is used to select objects. Okay, let's say you have a picture and you want to crop or take something out. That's what the select tool. If you want to pick anything, the select tool. This one also, the marquee tool, also behave as what a select tool. Okay, so you can draw around an object and pick it up, and then use it in your work. All right, we will demonstrate it. I'll share a video with you how to effective. The video on the various tools go a little bit deeper. They go deeper into it. Okay, yes. So this one is just a recap of what we have here. Then we come to the eraser tool. The eraser tool, this is the eraser tool, like for cleaning, for cleaning. Okay, so it has a similar property just like the brush. Okay, so it is used to erase or to clean items, okay, in our work, objects in our work. So they all come with similar property just like what the brush, but this time around it cleans out something. It cleans out the work we are doing. So the eraser tool, the select tool, the brush tool, and the layer panel, these are also very powerful things we talk about, and we can in our next exercise, in our next work, we're going to show you how to do it. Okay, to do it together. So don't be afraid. I know beginners are in a hurry to design a poster, design this and design that, but it is all about the process. Okay, so I'll share the assignment for you. Okay, to do this time round, we are going to create a real thing. We're going to develop a real thing, and be rest assured it's going to be all that we've been talking about since we started. Okay, it's going to be all that we have been talking about since we started this free trading. Okay, so you're going to the project. I'm thinking about a core card where you're going to use shape, going to use colors, you're going to use all the items we've talked about here. All right, so I want to encourage you all as beginners that it is patience. All right, people are in a hurry to start doing projects and are in a hurry to start showing their work out there. What I would encourage you is that have the focus and be patient with yourself. It's a learning process. Sometimes trying to move an object can be very, very difficult on the Photoshop. Sometimes a lot of things. What I advise you is that anytime you face any challenge, seek for help. Okay, but try to do it yourself. As you struggle, you learn more. Okay, and that is what will help you to move faster. Understand this that it is we are learning the tool. Graphic design is a profession that has a standard of what rules to obey. Okay, so if you are coming in as someone who wants to be a graphic designer, understand the science of the graphic design and then the tool we use for the what do you call it, the graphic design. Photoshop is a tool, CorelDRAW is a tool, all those other softwares we for. These are all tools. But what will make you stand out as a graphic design is understanding of these tools to be able to communicate effectively. So please be very, very patient with yourself. Don't be in a hurry. I know people are in a hurry to start to design posters, trying to do design this and all that. It will frustrate you in the long run. So be patient and learn to master. But one thing I would advise you is to understand the tool, understand it very, very well and how it works. Those who are using the laptops, I would advise you to get an external mouse like I have here. Okay, so I have an external mouse that gives me the flow. I'm able to move faster on it. There are other tools that the designers use for the Wacom tablet. I'm yet to get that one. So the Wacom tablet, it makes it easier to just work on the screen. Okay, so as at now, we don't have any question here, but our WhatsApp is still active. So in case you have anything, yes, please let me know. Maybe one of these days I'll organize a Google Meet so that I can have a deeper interactions here. Um, I'm choosing this platform because I don't want the interruptions as I talk now. All right, but I'll organize a Zoom meeting so that you can share your frustration. I know we get so much frustrated, especially when we don't get what we are trying to do or see the effect of our work. All right, so I wish you all the best, and I know some are not actively doing it, but it's worth it. Whatever you're learning is worth it. I wish you all the best, and I encourage you to keep working harder. And in the next months to come, you never regret it. Okay. And like I said in my earlier class with you, please um, build your creativity, develop your creativity. You asked me how. I told you that start designing, observing what others are doing in the graphic design space. uh, take a snapshot or have people's work, like whatever you see, whenever you see a very good design, you can snapshot on your machine, on your phone. When you see a nice picture, just download it. Nice work, download it and observe it. Okay, your goal is not to copy, but you are enhancing your creativity, you are building your, developing your eyes, developing your taste. And then as you begin to work harder, you're able to see which niche in the graphic design space do you want to be. All right, so thank you very much. You'll get in the your project very soon. I'll upload the project very soon, and also the deeper details on what we talk about.